when we do the bottom of the
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to Awakening Heart Community of Mindful Living here at Dallas Meditation Center. Glad to have you with us, and thank you for joining us online. And if you're here for the first time, maybe you just found us on YouTube either today or sometime during the week afterwards. It's pretty easy practice, and so just follow along. We'll do a guided meditation, and then we will have a talk after that. And then following that, for those of you who would like to join us, we will meet on Zoom for sharing and discussion. I will post that link in the chat window in a little bit, but we do hope that you come over and join us for that. And in the meantime, we'd love it if you would check in the chat window, let us know you're here. It's always nice to know when there's others here in the room when we're sitting here just talking at a computer. So I'm Cornell, I'm facilitating tonight. Bobby Perkins will lead us with a guided meditation. Tai Z will give a talk, and Lisa is bellmaster. So with that, just find that comfortable position. Perhaps turn the ringer off on your phone, and we will begin with 3 sounds of the bell. If you know the opening affirmation, please say it with me. Noble community, we gather here now to honor the way of peace and nonviolence, the way of wisdom and compassion, the way of joy and beauty. In solidarity with one another, with all humanity, and with all life on earth. Friends on the path, we gather here now to deepen our solidity like a mountain and to renew our freshness like a flower.
Through mindful sitting
and walking, mindful singing and breathing, and mindful speaking and listening. Family of awakening, we gather here now to celebrate the one infinite light that shines through many religions and many cultures, to cultivate the wisdom of our many teachers, both ancestral and contemporary.
and
To affirm the capacity within ourselves and all persons of every race, gender, orientation, and tradition to realize full and complete enlightenment. So it's nice to see several of you checked in. Looks like we have 17 in the room with us. Hello to John in Oak Cliff, to Barbara bowing in. Michael bows to all. Luis bowing and grateful to be with us. Ellie is from Plano, first timer. Welcome, Ellie. And let's see, Rich and Patty are here. Hello. And Miles is grateful to be joining from Chicagoland. Glad you're here too. And Sheila, hello. Rita, hi dear Sangha, hello. Happy to be here. Nick, hello. Jennifer, good afternoon. So yeah, really nice to hear from all of you, see you here, and enjoying this beautiful, beautiful day. And grateful that we're safe here from the fires, although we did get a little bit of, we have some smoke up in our atmosphere here down in Texas as well. And Shireen is checking in, and Nick as well. Hello. And so I'll turn over to Bobby for guided meditation, and maybe we'll chant too.
Hello, everyone. I'm so glad that you could all join us here for Sunday evening Awakening Heart Sangha. So yes, I think we will do some chanting. I would like us to do the Medicine Buddha chant. Thinking about, gosh, there are so many people struggling people struggling through the pandemic, struggling through fires, preparing for hurricanes, all kinds of things all over the world. And so, thinking about the song we sing, Open Wide My Heart, let's open wide our hearts, sing the Medicine Buddha chant, remembering all of these people. I'm going to let you look at the altar while we chant. Om Namo Bhagavate Vaishasha Guru Vaidurya Prabhu Rajaya Tathagataya Arhate Samyak Sambuddhaya Tadyata Om Vaishashe Vaishashe Maha Vaishashe Raja Samudgate Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vaishasha Guru Vaidurya Prabhu Rajaya Tathagataya Arhate Samyak Sambuddhaya Tadyata Om Vaishashe Vaishashe Maha Vaishashe Raja Samudgate Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vaishasha Guru Vaidurya Prabhu Rajaya Tathagataya Arhate Samyak Sambuddhaya Tadyata Om Vaishashe Vaishashe Maha Vaishashe Raja Samudgate Swaha. So, dear friends, I invite you to find a comfortable sitting position or lying down. You know that sometimes the things that we envision can be of benefit to all people. And this evening, I want to share a meditation that Thich wrote. It's all about getting in touch with the air, with water, the various forms of water like snow and ocean, trees. These are things that here, at least in Texas, we're not having fires. Some of us are having breathing problems from allergies, but for the most part, we are very fortunate that we have good air to breathe. So I invite you to open your heart, thinking about yourself and all the people in the world who maybe don't have good, healthy air to breathe. And as Thich says to us, in touch with the air, I breathe in. Smiling with the air, I breathe out. Touching air, smiling. In touch with pure mountain air, I breathe in. Smiling with pure mountain air, I breathe out. Pure mountain air, smiling. In touch with the pure countryside air, I breathe in. Smiling with the countryside air, I breathe out. Pure countryside air, smiling. In touch with cool water, I breathe in. Smiling with the cool water, I breathe out. Cool water, smiling. In touch with the clear stream, I breathe in. Smiling with the clear stream, I breathe out. Clear stream, smiling. In touch with the snow on the mountain, I breathe in. Smiling with the snow on the mountain, I breathe out. Snow on the mountain, smiling. In touch with the vast ocean, I breathe in. Smiling with the vast ocean, I breathe out. Vast ocean, smiling. In touch with the Arctic ice fields, I breathe in. Smiling with the Arctic ice fields, I breathe out. Arctic ice fields, smiling. In touch with the clouds in a blue sky, I breathe in. Smiling with the clouds in the blue sky, I breathe out. Touching clouds, smiling. In touch with the sunshine, I breathe in. Smiling with the sunshine, I breathe out. Touching sunshine, smiling. In touch with the trees, I breathe in. Smiling with the trees, I breathe out. Touching trees, smiling. In touch with the singing of birds, I breathe in. Smiling with the singing of birds, I breathe out. Singing birds, smiling. In touch with the sky, I breathe in. Smiling with the sky, I breathe out. Touching sky, smiling. In touch with the flowers, I breathe in. Smiling with the flowers, I breathe out. Touching flowers, smiling. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. I am blooming as a flower. I am fresh as the dew. I am solid as a mountain. I am firm as the earth. I am free. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. I am water reflecting what is real, what is true. And I feel there is space deep inside of me. I am free, I am free, I am free. Let's just rest for 1 minute in this space of solidity and freedom. May all beings be happy. May all beings be free. May all beings be joyful. May all beings be at peace. Brahma Vihara Maitri. Brahma Vihara Karuna. Brahma Vihara Mudita. Brahma Vihara Upeksha. May all beings be happy. May all beings be free. May all beings be joyful. May all beings be at peace. May all beings be at peace. May all beings be at peace. Thank you, everyone, for joining in that meditation. Maybe some of you sang with us. It's nice to think of that. So we're going to recite the 3 refuge chants. And if you want to recite with us, that would be good. I need a program. We take refuge in the Buddha, the awakening heart of infinite light, that which shows us the way in this life. We take refuge in the Dharma, the awakening path of infinite light, the way of understanding and of love. We take refuge in the Sangha, the awakening community of infinite light, those who live in harmony and awareness. So we're very, very happy to have our friend Tai Z with us this evening. During the month of September, we're focusing on the topic practicing together. It's a little more difficult to think of practicing together when we are apart, but the truth is that we're always together. There is something called interbeing. We are always linked, we are always interconnected. And so practicing together is what we do, whether we're here in person or whether we're sheltering in place, whether we're out in nature, wherever we are practicing together. So we welcome Tai Z and look forward to his sharing.
Good evening, brothers and sisters of this Sangha. I am Tai Z, and I am always happy to have the opportunity to come and share Sangha with this wonderful community. May the infinite light of wisdom and compassion so shine within us that the errors and vanities of self may be dispelled. So shall we understand the changing nature of existence and awaken into spiritual peace. So here we are in this time of COVID, which has, I might venture a guess, has changed all of our lives in many, many, many different ways. I am certain that it has changed my life in a lot of ways. I am a person who runs a small temple in Arlington, Texas called Budding Dharma, and a small community, a small Sangha of between 15 and 25 people. And as of March 13th, we had to put a sign on the door that said we're closed, which is, I think, similar to what's happened here. I am a chaplain in a prison ministry, and effective about that same date, we got notice that we were no longer permitted to come into the prison because of COVID. And therefore, this small Sangha of 35 to 40 men that we were practicing with on a weekly basis no longer could meet. So things have changed for all of us, changed in so many ways. It's almost as if we have been forced into a personal isolation. The concept of practicing together has become something of an electronic wonder. We think of miracles in many, many practices of spirituality, and do we think that Zoom and YouTube is the miracle of the times? What would we do without it? We have taken Zoom to areas of our own practicing together that I don't think any of us would have ever thought was possible. My teacher, who's in Mount Adams in Trout Lake, Washington, said, we're going to do a service on Saturdays via Zoom, and we're going to have 3 different temples join. We're going to have 5 different teachers, and we're going to have an hour service every Saturday on Zoom. Now, you have to understand, if you don't know my teacher, but if I am a klutz with regards to electronic abilities, he far surpasses me. We have disconnected each other. We have done all kinds of things on Zoom that was not intended. But after all these months, it's almost 6 months that we've been doing this every Saturday, we now have almost 45 to 50 people showing up on Saturday to practice together in Zoom. Of course, then my teacher, gets very, very creative and inventive, and he says, we're going to do a week's retreat on Zoom. Well, if I thought doing services in Zoom was going to be crazy, I was ready for the padded cell when he said we were going to do a week, 7 days of a retreat on Zoom. Well, I am always been the doubting Thomas. If you're familiar with the Christian concept of the Apostle Thomas, he was the one that said, I don't believe that Christ is risen until I can put my fingers in the holes in his hand or put my hand in the lanced side of the Savior. Well, I've always been the doubting Thomas, I think, of most new things. My mind goes to, well, that won't work. And luckily, this Buddhist practice has sort of awakened me a little bit so that I'm open to more of this. But we did a week's retreat, and we did all kinds of things. I will tell you, it was most successful, except one part. The walking meditation was tough to do on Zoom, and but at the end of the 7th day, when we closed down and got everybody's feedback for this, they said how wonderful this was, how wonderful to have the opportunity to practice together. And I got to tell you, I was as tired at the end of this Zoom meditation retreat as I am sometimes when I do an in-person 5, 6, 7 day retreat. And so the possibilities become available to us. You know, when the Buddha started his practice, if you will, there was a sense of community. People came to the Buddha and loved the philosophy of life that he talked about, where we have the opportunity to change the direction of our thoughts and our feelings and our emotions and our actions. And they liked what they heard and they wanted to hear more. But there wasn't Zoom back then. There wasn't YouTube back then. And so people would congregate with the Buddha. They would leave their homes and they would come and they would stay with him. And then the problems arose. How do we feed all of these people? How do we clothe them? How do we shelter them? And that's when concepts of monastic living began to germinate, if you will. And I don't know how many of you have ever had the opportunity to spend time in a monastery. I did in China, 400 people in a monastery practicing together, getting up together, eating together, chanting together, walking together, working together. There was a time at the end of that month and a half where I thought, enough of this together. I want to go walk down the street by myself for a while. It depends on how connected you are to crowds and to people and to the interactions of things. I've learned over time that I'm what's called an ambivert, which means I can be an extrovert in times and for extended periods of time. But there's a time when that engine shuts off and I become an introvert. And they call this switch between one and the other, this existence is an ambivert. And that's what I've discovered I am. If you are struggling at this point in time with the singularity of almost everything that you were used to sharing in a larger number, you are not alone. We can't go to restaurants anymore and eat together. Movie theaters, we can't do it. Concerts, we can't do it because of this virus that is so virulent and so easily transmitted when we are within large crowds, not wearing masks, not washing our hands as frequently as we should. And the fear of how virulent this can be for some people has caused us to retreat. And we retreated into our homes, or we retreated into smaller groups so that we feel a little bit more safe and more protected. Practicing together is a concept that, if we think of it, as Bobby so wonderfully pointed out at the end of our meditation, that we're never really separated from each other. We're really always connected if we understand our practice. I was a singular meditator, if you will, for a number of years before I decided to be a monk, and I was really happy being a singular meditator. I was really happy on my own schedule, getting up when I wanted to, sitting when I felt like it, reading books when I felt like it. I was happy with that. And my teacher was always nudging me. He says, "You need to go find Sangha." And I, "Oh, yeah, maybe not this week. Maybe next week I'll find Sangha." But, being sort of thick-headed, you got to knock me a few times. I finally got the drift. And I found Sangha. I found Sangha here. That's when I first met Brother Chi Singh. And I thought, what a wonderful community. What a wonderful, loving interaction is happening between people. This is what I don't experience as a single meditator. This is what I need to put my Dharma into practice. And this is what we all need. But how do we do it? Well, if we think about ourselves in a singular nature, our minds and emotions will probably go to feelings of loss during this time. What we've lost. I've lost friends, not necessarily that they've died, but I don't see them in person any longer. Some of us have lost employment, so there's that loss of interaction. Some of us have lost even the ability to hug our grandchildren or to connect with our relatives because of this virus. And it's interesting, when we think of loss, we think of it as a negative thing. But you know what? Loss has a lot of positives to it as well. In our practice, you know what else we've lost? We've lost the ability to be so angry. We've lost the ability to be as sad as we have maybe been in the past. We've lost the ability to suffer singularly and to recognize that suffering exists among all things on this earth. And so our sufferings become more connected, more grouped, if you will, as we understand our interconnection to each other. And so my loss of anger is a benefit for all. Karma has an interesting play in our philosophy. Karma is about what I do. And necessarily my karma doesn't necessarily impact me all the time. My karma goes out, and there's a practice of karma togetherness, if you will. The loving kindness and compassion that we show each other in whatever way we can show each other is a wonderful, wonderful way of practicing together. Karma works. We're experiencing our karma now in our environment. The karma of all of us who have been driving too much or using too much plastics or whatever way we've contributed to the karma of this environment is now resulting in what we're seeing right here before us. We're living it. If we weren't convinced that the environment is a connective thing for all of us to be aware of, how do we miss that message now? With the West Coast on fire and the typhoons in Japan and hurricanes coming. I've heard that we're going to run out of names for them this year. Oh my goodness. Do we really believe that this is not a result of environmental misuse? And so what do? Well, we make changes. We make changes here. We make changes here. And we make changes in our actions. We're driving less. You know what? Our air quality has actually improved over this, and not since the fires, but since the 6 months of being in sort of self-isolation, our air quality improved. It's a tangible thing. We can see it scientifically. We know it's happening. Practicing together. We have to find ways of connecting. There's a practice of dana. Dana is our opportunity to give some of what we have for others, for the benefit of all. And dana is so important during this time of COVID. I used to watch 35, 40 people come here to the community center here at the meditation center, and they would drop their dana in the bowl, and it helped this organization to be able to thrive and to be able to have a wonderful, wonderful bunch of programs that benefit everybody. But we're not coming here anymore. So what are we doing? How are we practicing together in our dana giving? When I started coming to the meditation center, wow, it must be 3 or 4 years ago, I think. There was a pitch by a good pitch man. His name is Cornell, and he said, the easiest way is to just put it on your credit card, and it just happens automatically every month. And so I did that. I offered my dana in that way, and I don't have to think about, did I offer dana to the Dallas Meditation Center this month? I don't even think about it anymore. It just happens. Now that may be lazy practicing together, but it's useful practicing together. And those of you that are taking benefit from these meditational practices in Zoom, it is given freely. But to practice it together, the dana has to come back so that this location can continue to offer it. So that's my pitch for dana this week. I'd like to close by sharing with you a little bit of writing from Thich Nhat Hanh that I have memorized, and I've made it part of my starting meditation and my practice. And if you want to find it on the Google, you just have to put in the first line, let us be at peace with our bodies and our mind, and the rest of it will come up. And so if you will just simply understand the beauty of these words, let us be at peace with our bodies and our minds. Let us return to ourselves and become wholly ourselves. Let us be aware of the source of being common to us all and to all living things. Evoking the presence of the great compassion, let us fill our hearts with our own compassion towards ourselves and towards all living beings. Let us pray that we ourselves cease to be the cause of suffering to each other. With humility and with the awareness of the existence of life and of the sufferings going on around us, let us practice the establishment of peace in our hearts and on earth. May all beings be happy. May all beings be free. May all beings know love. May all beings know peace. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sam buddhasa. This is the lazy Susan.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Thank you so much, Taisi. Really, for me, what stood out a lot was the recognition that we are all in this together. And I see that everywhere. I see signs that said we're in this together, but sometimes people don't really act like that. It's like almost becomes a cliche or a slogan. But here at the Meditation Center, I think we get it. We get that we are really, truly in this together. and we will survive together. We will thrive together, because that's what we do. So Paul is reminding us, well, I like what Michael said. Michael said practicing together is living together. And Paul says, get your Dana on. And he's referring, I think, to North Texas Giving Day, which the official day is September 17th, but it is open now for donations. And so that's what Paul is saying, open now for donations. And we have over $2,500 in matching funds available, which means that your contribution gets essentially doubled. I was thinking about this the other day. We have probably close to 3,000 people on our email list. And, we get these little things from the politicians saying, will you chip in $3 or $5 or whatever? And so I thought, if everybody on our list chipped in $10, we'd meet our goal quickly and we'd be set. So, I don't know, something to think about. Can you spare, Donna, $10? Well, we'll see. And Kim wants to thank you, Taisi, and she says Amitabha.
Bowing back.
So now I invite you to find the Zoom link, which you see in the chat window, and go ahead and make your way over to Zoom, and we will all be joined together there. And then you can share, ask questions, whatever's on your heart. So we'll see you momentarily on Zoom. We'll do our closing chant at the end of our Zoom meeting.